everyone. Good evening. It is 8:09 here on a Saturday night. Chief Meteorologist here, Nick Bannon here with you, as we're seeing the big increases now in the precipitation coverage across central Texas. I want to show you what it looks like on radar here. It's getting increasingly wintry. As we put the winter radar on, you can see that. The pinkish purplish colors there are a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain. We'd have had both of those on and off today. Some of the sleet has been enough to accumulate in the hill country in more of a dusting sort of coating fashion. But the general idea here is that precipitation will continue to increase and spread northeastward through the evening. So here in Austin, I was just outside feeling more of the freezing drizzle, which doesn't get picked up by the radar beam as much, but that will only lead to freezing rain, more persistent rain as we go into the evening. We've already had reports of much of the area northwest of Austin, a lot of the bridges starting to freeze up, the overpasses, the flyovers, that sort of thing. They freeze first because they're surrounded by cold above and below. Roads in contact with the ground, the surface level streets freeze later because the warmth of the ground still manages to outdo the cold from above. But that won't last forever as we continue to deal with temperatures like this. So widening the view out, let me switch to a composite mode here, and you could see the big picture. The pinks and the purples are the wintry mix, and that continues to fill in here to our southwest. Let me turn off the clouds, and you can see it a little bit better there. That is the more widespread precipitation spreading in from the west and southwest and filling in all over central Texas. And this is going to be the period now going through the next several hours where the worst of our weather does occur. And the majority of our ice does get accumulated. So here's the big picture statewide. We've got snow to the north of us. We're in the battleground of ice, which basically has meant sleet or freezing rain here for much of the day. And then to the south of us, it is not as icy, although some of the San Antonio area seeing the ice farther south of that, not super rough, at least for the time being. So here's that close view. And a reminder what temperatures are doing. We're below freezing everywhere. So anything that comes down and reaches those colder surfaces, the elevated surfaces, the bridges, the overpasses, the flyovers, that's where you'll freeze almost immediately at this point. It's those other surfaces in contact with the ground that still may take a little bit of time before they get cold enough. But I would look at anything surrounding you, and if you see a shine to the road, or even if it looks wet, you could assume that it very well could be ice, and the later in we go to the night, the more likely that it actually is ice. On top of the wintry precipitation threat, we of course have dangerous cold too. Shouldn't be overlooking the cold. We've got wind chills in the teens and single digits across much of the area now because we've got wind gusts that are in the 20 to 25 miles per hour range. So that's what we're seeing now, and this sort of wind will continue here tonight. Problem is, when you get even a breeze like this, which isn't particularly strong, when you combine it with the ice that will be growing gradually through the night on trees and things, we will only gradually see potentially more power outages. We've already had a few thousand here today. That amount should grow. What changed earlier today is an increasing risk for higher ice accumulations of a 1/4 inch or higher. Not everywhere within this ice storm warning, but at least for some of you in the ice storm warning, you could see those higher 1/4 inch or up ice accumulations. And that's why the National Weather Service, because of a heightened risk of that level of freezing rain, increased the severity level of what we're looking up here today from being a winter storm warning, which is still significant, to now an ice storm warning for even higher levels of significance. For the majority of the rest of the area away from the Austin metro, we still have a winter storm warning that continues until noon tomorrow. So that's all of our eastern counties, parts of Lampasas, or all of Lampasas, San Saba, Mason County, where you could still receive significant icing, but for the most part, it should stay under a 1/4 of. So looking at a few different things, we've put together our own ice forecast. I think this blends pretty well some of the higher end accumulation threats, but also some of the lower threats of ice that may occur more broadly. So we think 1/10 to 3/10 of an inch of ice can be expected for the majority of us here by the time this precipitation wraps up tomorrow morning. There still may be some isolated amounts up to 1/2 inch, but we do think that'll be more isolated than widespread. So let me take you through the timeline here. This is a computer model representation of our ice threat tonight. The pinkish color represents wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain. No more rain anymore. This is freezing rain or sleet at this point because even our surface roads will start to get increasingly icy. So thick of it, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, and then by 2, 3 o'clock, we start seeing the more widespread icing starting to shift east of I-35 into our eastern counties. And then by about 4 or 5, the widespread precipitation is out of the entire area. There still may be some spotty freezing rain, sleet showers, or even a few snow showers and sprinkles left, but nothing of great significance once the sun comes up. And then Sunday, cloudy skies in the morning, giving way to a partly sunny sky. You can tell here from the future clouds and radar product, there will be more clouds in our northern neighborhoods. And then farther south, more sunshine. So we're summing it up by saying a blend of both, clouds and sun, partly sunny day. The sun's not going to help out much. It is still going to be a cold day. In fact, we think now it's going to be below freezing all day long. And then as we get into Sunday evening and night, the clouds do start to clear up, but that's actually not going to work in our favor. It's only going to allow for colder temperatures to settle in by morning. And then Monday, mostly sunny, still frigid. And then we try to finally climb above freezing here in the afternoon. Also want to touch upon this, the potential for accumulating sleet. We've already had some of that today. So we'll sum it up by saying our sleet forecast, which may include a little bit of snow, calls for spotty coatings and dustings of this through Sunday morning. Not everybody on this map will see that. We've so far seen more sleet in the hill country than anywhere else, but spotty coatings of sleet or snow by Sunday morning. Could get some isolated amounts up to 1/2 inch. Most of us will be much less than that. And then let me walk you through the temperature forecast. Because again, reminder, it's going to be frozen precipitation the rest of the night. So the temperatures matter, yes, but they don't matter for how you treat this overnight into Sunday morning. We'll be dropping down into the low 20s and mid-teens. This is for the regular air temperature. This is not just the wind chill. In fact, this does not factor in the wind chill. Factoring in the wind chill, gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour, will make it feel like single digits and teens, which is why we have an extreme cold warning. So let me take you through Sunday, because temperatures do climb, but we're now forecasting highs that in the vast majority of places do not climb above freezing. In fact, at the very best, we'll see a few spots southeast of Austin getting above freezing, but we think that most areas do not. So you can see the 30s and 20s, low 30s, sub-freezing 30s, and 20s being much more widespread than any areas that actually get above freezing. And then if we don't climb above freezing Sunday, then you're in for this prolonged freeze, because Sunday night and Monday morning we stay below freezing. In fact, we're thinking teens will be very widespread, few lucky folks in the 20s. And then finally, as we head into Monday afternoon, more places climb above freezing. There may be some spots, though, as you can see here, in the western hill country, where you may not actually climb above freezing on Monday either. So that means you go rest of today, all of Sunday, all of Monday below freezing. And the threat for damage to pipes goes up the longer that you're of course, below freezing. But more of us do climb above freezing here on Monday. Extreme cold warnings already in effect, last through the night, last through the day tomorrow, continue through midday here on Monday. So let's just finalize it all here, because we're getting ready for our newscast at 9 o'clock on CW Austin and also on KXAN News at 10. But a final wrap up of what's happening on winter radar, which is a combination of sleet and freezing rain. Our radar indicating potentially some snow mixing in too. I think it's not quite as much snow as being adjusted for here with the algorithms that our radar uses. But no doubt it's at least some sleet and freezing rain, but maybe a little bit of snow. But the coverage of this is just going to ramp up here through the night tonight. Let me just jump the 7-day forecast for those of you who have not seen it yet. So icy weather tomorrow morning. Even when the precipitation stops, the roads are still going to be icy. Tomorrow afternoon, gradual improvements, but not by much. There may be some improvements to the roads, though, as they get potentially retreated. Partly sunny skies here tomorrow. And then you could see the sunshine, but still cold on Monday. Sunshine improving Tuesday. We'll all be above freezing here Tuesday afternoon. Many of us will be on Monday afternoon. Wednesday, sunshine and 50. Thursday, 55. And then a cold front comes in to knock us down into the 40s on Friday. And then rain, a light rain on Friday may turn to a wintry mix Friday evening and night into Saturday morning. That's a low confidence forecast for right now. It's at the very end of our 7-day, but it is indeed something that we are looking at. So appreciate you joining us here today on KXAN Plus. If you've been with us all day, we've been providing these frequent updates from individual meteorologist perspective, but also we've been continuing a weather radar and forecast loop to keep you up to date about what we are expecting. We'll see you on CW Austin at 9. Join us then, and on KXAN News at 10. Be safe. Try and stay off the roads for the time being. Things should improve a little bit tomorrow and much more on Monday, and then for all of us above freezing on Tuesday.